Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, covering Season 56, 3 versus 3 Grand Arena Championship, Week 1. We are now in our expanded new format. Welcome to the new show. Not this last long episode, but the one before that, we featured Fatal as our special guest. And, after the episode, we were all talking how much we enjoyed the show. The comments from you guys were, fantastic. You guys really enjoyed that episode in particular. And so, I reached out to Fatal and asked, would he be interested in joining the show regularly? And he agreed. So he signed on. And here we are. It is now the five of us, hopefully, regularly as best as we can going forward. But welcome, Fatal, first of all. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. As far as I'm concerned, I'm kind of just crashing on the couch until you all kick me out. So I'm in it for the long haul.
Okay, I respect that. I do. The key that
this couch is comfortable.
You know what makes the guy on the couch beloved by all the other actual rent paying residents in the apartment, right?
What's that?
Just you bring fast food and a bag of weed sometimes. That's basically the equivalent. So, whatever you're bringing from your fights on a weekly basis is more than enough to cover the rent,
My market has changed recently. I'm dealing more in catnip recently, but if you do need that, I have quite a few
massive quantities. So, and I did see those two little ones. They're adorable. But let us not neglect our co-hosts here. Dagger, Sasha Aisha. I'm going to practice it now. Because you got me on
Nailed it.
Now. All right, and then TJ.
You can let it go. Sasha Aisha. Or
you just say
little on.
Sasha Aisha.
I practice it.
Doing great. Yeah, Aisha. Doing great. Good to be here, Tass. Welcome, Fatal.
Fantastic. Guys,
and it makes you feel better, Fatal. Yeah. We're perfectly happy putting TJ or Tass on the couch should you want more comfortable arrangement.
Tass stays on the couch. Tass doesn't win. Tass goes on the couch.
As
it's
we
like the
learned in
lotion
the
on the
last
skin.
episode, Tass likes to get sweaty with other men, so I don't know about him having a bed.
Yes, he
I don't know if
you
watched that last episode with Zareth, but they accused me of some things.
So we brought evidence. A lot. we brought the evidence to the jury. The jury confirmed guilty.
Fantastic.
He also killed our fun intro, so this is not our first take.
No.
I mean, the slide wasn't even loaded yet, and I got you guys talking about armpits and whatnot.
No, I waited for you to load the slide and then started talking. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
We hold the leverage here. We could just start throwing off strikes. What's he going to do?
That's true.
Yeah, that's
true.
Right.
I don't have the editing skills to crop this out properly.
And then we talked to Mrs. Tass, and he goes on the couch.
I am vulnerable
the only one
to
on the
one-take
couch
wonders,
is Tass. Yes.
But I'm doing great. I didn't play my first round, went 1-1, and the ones I did play, had fun, which is surprising for me in 3v3. I just want to throw it out there. I had fun.
All right, Sasha, how about you? How'd you do in week 1?
Pretty good. I mean, I only had one match, which is kind of par for the course these days. And that one blew up against Leia in the new Datacron, the tank Datacron. And we'll get into it in a bit. But it was fun. But all in all, a good week. I will say, I actually really enjoy this meta. I go back a month or two ago when, maybe 2+ months ago when we were in such an intense efficiency meta that didn't feel as creative. And I love the arrival of new Datacrons and just, defensive viability. I'm all for it.
Fantastic. TJ, what's the word, man? How'd you do?
Dude, 3-0, and that shit's wild for me.
Strong week for sure for anybody,
dude. And then who I was facing too. These weren't the nobody. So this was 3 strong players, and it got better. But playing Swiggle 2.0 because of all these different crons and all these different setups, man, it is wild out there.
Fatal, of course. How did you do?
Yeah, I deliberately went 2-1 just because I'm. The plan was, I'm worried about the rhodiums. I don't want to skip rounds. And so I was thinking, because as far as I'm aware, 2-1 seems to hover at the exact same rank. So I was just like, okay, I'm right outside 100. If I just float here, maybe I can just not.
It's so ridiculous, man. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna reharp on this. That is so ridiculous that Fatal or somebody else or a Sasha or a Taz has to take a planned loss just to play the game you want to play. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep reiterating this.
And that was making an assumption before the squish hit, right? So that's
Dude,
that's where
like,
Fatal was telling.
We talked about it. I just want to call this out, which is funny. I went 3-0. I started at 84. I got to move to an almighty 77. With their like 20 different ranks of people, and I have 2 Erodiums in my bracket. So it's like, dude, 3-0, and it's like if I want to play real people, it's like you have to lose to win.
Here's what's killing me is I went 2-1 and I floated the same rank, but honestly, I'm actually kind of regretting the choice because it happened week 1, and I'm pretty sure it's about to happen again week 2. It's just not an even fight right now. I just have like a fairly large advantage on like Datacron and character respects.
Okay.
So it's like it's just not fulfilling in what's otherwise a really like I consider 3v3 to just be like strictly better than 5v5 right now in terms of like meta health. And so I'm like I'm trying to do the responsible choice so that we can have a real match or quote unquote real match every round. But I think I might need to float a little bit higher, but then like you said, you've got 2. And then I looked at the leaderboard, and I looked a little bit higher in ranks, and I see 2 more closer together, and I'm just like, I don't know where to go. Because I don't think I like where I'm at, and I'm not sure that going higher is better either. But I do want some better fights.
I don't know.
Sasha's not even going to show up next week. He has, 7 Erodiums?
He has entered the zone.
Just when we were going into lock-in, I took a look at it, and I had the 7 ranked above me were all Erodium. The first 7 above me, there are 3 legit players up there. But the 7 above me were Erodium, and the 13 after me were Erodium. So I assumed going into this week I would have absolutely no matches. I'm really pleased to say, like, a bunch of those, while they got sort of bumped in, like, they were elevated in, they apparently didn't sign up because I have some legit players in my bracket. So I'm psyched. I get like
this is hilarious. The lottery of cross your fingers. Do I get a player or not as I go compare GAC? Come on, man. That is the Do I get the player or not? It's the double Dutch of Swiggle, and it is the dumbest thing I've ever seen to consistently be where we're at, man. It's so crazy.
It's ridiculous, and I will say it definitely I went through today assuming I wasn't going to be playing this week. So I didn't do my normal optimization going in, but Fatal, I will say thank you for tanking that match that you did because I look at it always bums me out when Task doesn't have a real match. It would suck for you to not have real matches. There's just there's more demand than supply of good GAC content. So I'm psyched to be able to get more.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the Lost stream can at least try to produce some interesting fights, I'm kind of fucking down for it. I mean, we've been doing JC for long enough that I don't really have a sense that any of us really need to prove anything at this point.
No, right?
We've been around in top ranks for long enough that if we want to get back there, we know the process. We can just go fucking do it.
Yeah,
so,
but I told TJ just a couple weeks ago that I'm really happy sometimes that I don't have time to play every round because man, it would be miserable to have Erodiums. At least I've had pretty much all real opponents because I hover right around 100.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said it because I was also noticing as well. I was like, damn, there's not a whole lot of GSC streamers anymore aside from a lot of usuals. But I was looking for people to raid at some point, just trying to get a lay of the land.
Yeah,
and it was not a whole lot of options out there. I mean, there's people, but just not so much GEC interest.
But don't you simulcast on YouTube as well? So are there not people for you to raid into or whatever the equivalent is on YouTube either?
YouTube did some policy change a couple of months ago that I within the same day as whatever this policy change hit, they were like, hey, if you stream music on your stream one more time, we're closing the channel down. It's well, okay. What the fuck are you talking about? But okay. I guess I just want to use this service.
Yeah, I'd heard about some of that with not about issues, but people simulcasting. And I was like, huh, that is pretty cool if you can be doing that. I didn't know that you were having issues.
The simulcasting is fully allowed. It's fair game. But if it's a choice between streaming on YouTube or listening to music, I'm sorry, but it's
fair.
This is a great segue. While we're talking about things that are complete dog shit, let's talk about Ray on defense.
Fine. Very good. A reasonably organic transition to our first segment. In meta-analysis, we had a few teams that we wanted to highlight. First and foremost is going to be Ray. So I know that a few of you guys have been saying that Starkiller's, working for you. Who wants to expand on that? Because I heard some people have been getting their clock cleaned using Starkiller. I haven't tried it myself.
Still don't even have
full
3
disclosure.
Omicrons on that character, so maybe they should.
I also think Dagger made a great call when he says rust ease, trying to bring back the Starkiller versus Ray.
It's been like 6 months, 8 months since Starkiller's been able to kill Ray. Like, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do expect some rust. Looking at the percentages, like TJ was and Pato were saying or mentioning, like, you see people without attacker or support prawns beating Ray. Right? Like, you see people with, like, basically non-usable level 6s beating Ray. You see people with both beating Ray. Right? So if you don't need an attacker cron and you don't need the support stacking cron to beat Ray, like, you know what I mean? If the level of cron you need to beat Ray is like an old cron, like, I feel like we're just in a position where you shouldn't be putting Ray on defense. Or if you are, you're putting, like, in front of Fleet or as, like, a throwaway team.
Yeah.
Just to make them use their Starkiller there.
Yeah, it's a top front.
Now, that's against any composition of Ray, whether or not it's Cal or what have you.
I'm sure there's some kind of clever comp someone's going to come up with that might, like, throw a wrench in it. But from what I've seen, like, Visas doesn't do it with the healer cron. Cal doesn't do it with the support cron. I saw somebody with an attacker cron. That didn't work. Or Starkiller killed that. Like, I think we're just at a point where, at least in 3v3, unless like, Ray gets some, like, ult help, like, help on her ult or extra offense. I honestly don't know what it is.
It's not going to matter, Dagger. I played this fight. I want to test the attacker one, right? I played the healer, and I've actually, like, got to do it, right? And you have time to make mistakes, readjust your fight, and come back out. You're timing it out. The only thing I'll say with the attacker, and then if you do the, like, I have the 15% on the level 3 as well. It's like you start looking to it because you're going too fast, too much. So you have to kind of bring it back a little bit. So I've recorded my fights, but I was fine the whole time.
JTR still might. If you're going to set it, I think you got to go with JTR at this point, just for, like, the rust aspect of people forgetting what her mastery does.
That's fair.
But, like,
the only other thing that jumps out to me is having a bit of a puncher's chance is the Nest Cron, like a really finely tuned
That's the one
Nest
I want to
Cron.
try.
Yeah. This is great. I'm
because
glad you're mentioning those.
I watched.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to comment on
Please,
that.
yeah,
really
you
good,
piggyback off of that, TJ. Go after. So.
Yeah, I mean, she'll multi-attack. She ramps. It's not uncommon if you're trying to use a cron for Ray. You've got 3 attackers in that squad.
It's cool.
You're going to add a bunch of physical damage. Yeah.
Let me ask you: what if nobody goes? What if Nest is stuck from turn 1 when you start playing the fight, and then you just finish it off, and Nest can't go and do this stuff you're trying to do?
you're talking about just making Nest, like, slow as fuck, right?
Yeah, I try it, and I think that's fine. But
I don't think it even needs to be that slow. I mean, you have Nest at like 200-something% tenacity, right? Mm-hmm. So she's going to be loaded up. She'll get offensive buffs again with, like, sort of the dream scenario Nest Cron on it, and I mean, any counter she attacks twice and is doing, I think it's like 40% health damage, because I think that, or maybe it's just 20. It gets one of the exposes up, and like I haven't seen it in action, but like I said it, and it held against Seer Malikos Starkiller.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard of people failing with it. And
Seer kind of sucks versus Ray right now.
Yeah,
I will say, I know a streamer who did this and tried Seer Malikos. It's cool. Like, I know a guy on the show who got to watch it, so I got to watch the fight, but I've also got to use the Starkiller. So that's why I said I got to watch the mechanics of what was happening and what she was doing. And to your point, even with the tenacity, I wonder if you control her so she can't do the shenanigans. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Down and then it's irrelevant.
Right, but that's what I'm talking about. To the point of what he's saying with 200% tenacity from Sasha. It's like, but I still think Starkiller beats the shit out of that with the attacker level 6.
it's just done.
Mhm.
I
In
don't.
3v3. There were
It
some
sounds
And
like we
Jason
can
has
all.
to be down.
Yeah.
It
There were
sounds
some
like we can all.
nasty
Go
Ray
ahead.
teams for 5v5 that are coming down the pipeline. Some fucking filthy fucking teams. In 3v3, you don't have access to those extra 2 spots.
Mhm.
So it's
Go ahead,
Ray,
Tass.
Ray Ben +1, and that +1, at least week 1, has not looked like it's mattered.
No.
Well, I mean, to you guys mentioning about the Seer counter not working as well. So I did Seer Malikos Crew, and I thought I was hot shit. I had it all worked out where I was gonna stun either Ben or Nest. I mean, honestly, when I started the fight, I was thinking it should be Ben, but it doesn't matter because Malikos threw rocks. I think he got to do a second, a follow up, a basic, a second rocks. Nobody died. Nobody was close to dying, by the way. Nest, I think, started going after that, and many stacks of expose later, and a whole bunch of focus only on Malikos later. Malikos like died immediately after that.
It is worth the watch. If you ever want to go see a Tash stream and what it is, and it's not even like to see watch the failures. That's great to show the mechanics of Nest, just to see how this works and how quick the decision of the fight is over is bananas.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to see what it would look like for me to get hit by a car, that would be what my face would be like. Absolute shock, like complete blank face .jpeg, like cannot even register the pain that I have just taken, because I never in my wildest dreams did I expect Malikos to just get lit up like that by Nest. So, all right, that's my last piece on Ray. Did anybody else have something they wanted to say about Ray matchups?
Just know you're setting Star Killer bait.
If you're wanting to scam somebody out, just try posting Ray Vsauce, and if they fall into the kill Vsauce last trap,
Yes.
then you might get a Ray revive with no debuffs into Whirlwind, and but she's
So-
probably just gonna ult and do nothing instead.
I recorded that fight. I am that guy, but I pulled it out because I got everything just right. It was such a perfect setup, and everybody was gone. I was like, it's just Visas. Did
Or-
not
or-
pay
or-
attention, and they came
Or,
back.
or you
but
can say
when she
JTR
revived, she
there.
ulted, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, she did not. So I got to recontrol the fight. Everybody came back, and I was to a position, I guess, Terminator wise, where I was still in the lead and had enough time. I got it all out still. I was still able to come back and clutch the fight.
Man,
after
that would be a dope video to see.
I have it. I have the video, but it's too long for all of us content people. But I'm happy to show and share if we want to put it up. But I definitely took the bait of what Fatal is talking about, and I think the Visas one is an easy one to overlook. Not like the Barris or something like that, because you run, and I was scared as shit when everybody came back, and I said, "Oh no, I've only got like a minute 45 left to win." I still came back and cleared the fight out for 54.
But yeah, like Fatal said, I think you're looking at Visas, or like I even think JTR might get some people if they're rusty.
Yeah, it's basically the same idea. Yeah, you know, just like pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I see where you guys are going with that. All right, next meta matchup, guys. Jabba, Kersantin, Bausch. Almost universally, I would expect that's what we had faced in any kind of Jabba defense. But this team overperformed both, me attacking it and me having it on defense. I know that we would pretty much all agree about the max health level 3. Is that pretty much agreed? The light side max health level 3?
That is nutty.
Required reading? Not fatal.
If we're trying to contest Night Sisters, I would maybe consider light side buffs as well.
Okay. Just to have a greater burst when you do get the AoE? offer?
Well, that's kind of the concern to me is, I mean, ultimately the matchup is just about, do you aim at Marin, right? And so if the answer is yes, you aimed at Marin, she's unless you're like, you have two ways to go, right? You can go either damage Bausch or you can go potency Bausch. But if you're just trying to, because most people are not willing to put up something like an R9 Marin. I mean, obviously it's a very expensive thing, and it's like a
I
very
noticed that you had
luxury
that.
ad. Oh no, I slapped that shit on ages ago for this matchup because, ideally you don't really want to be running DACA. If you don't want to be running DACA, then you just need a Marin that can stand and present and take it.
I'm gonna try this shit, but I'm gonna go off on a limb here because I told Fatal about this and he slapped my Night Sister hand, and I'm okay with Fatal, the originator of the originator when it comes to Night Sisters versus Jabba. I faced the attacker level 6 with the light side damage level 3. I tried Leia. Leia worked all week for me. I played different variations. I had the tank set up. There was the support, so Jabba was doing something, and then I faced the attacker. I literally got nothing done with the attacker with Leia. Leia, literally, my whole team just wasted away. They pummeled and beat it out. So I left it loaded on purpose just because I was going to do it, and I took the Night Sister. I took Healer level 6 with DACA. I'll call the luck because I didn't record this, but they hard targeted DACA, and she got to do the Night Sister zombie revive, so it worked out. And then I recontrolled the fight and was able to do a full clear on it. So I want to know, it's like, because I know when I told Fatal this, he's like, that's counterintuitive. It's like, well, damn it, Fatal, don't kill my thunder. Damn it worked for me. This shit worked. Don't kill it because I have average Night Sisters at best, dude. I'm nowhere near Fatal's setup like he was with the Trey or the Trio, or even I would say like Tass's, right? They're
I've been
really
thinking
optimized.
who my next Relic 9 should be, so...
But it's like, it was cool watching the AI target the DACA, and then they hard target, and then she's able to come back, and then I was able to recontrol it.
Just to kind of pull us back on topic, because we were already going kind of long on the level 6 attacker is the one that has been like the most frustrating for me to fight against.
I would agree.
I don't know if you guys have felt the same way about that.
I fought it and I've watched it, and dude, it's bananas difference of a fight. I love this set because it goes everywhere, but man, attacker,
I think
holy
the
hell.
attacker is the optimal one. I mean, I also have just a cracked out Afra. Just Afra herself, the droids are not, they're okay. But yeah, I've been able to use Afra, but then I have an R9 fully prot built like Afra, so have fun focusing her.
Well, let me tell you this, my friend. I myself set a tank revive grit level 6 with my Jabba, and I fought that with I fought the same with my Afra, and you know how much I love those three.
Oh yeah, I fought one of those too.
Now that was 300+% defense. I barely scratched them.
I fought one of those too, and I basically autoed it.
You are welcome to take a look at that fight and tell me where I completely botched it. I am open to it because I was so disappointed that Afra let me down there.
Because I fought the Great Revive, and it was just like dummy
was
level.
Was it 300+% defense per chance?
Probably not. I don't remember what the cron was, but I don't. Probably not.
It was bizarre.
It was naturally rolled 300% because that was only a level 8.
It was a level 8. The man was chosen by God. It's
like how he re-rolled naturally. Dude, it's like stupid how well. And then you watch the fight and he just sits there. It's cool. You don't get to kill nobody.
There might be something about the defense, but yeah, just I don't know.
So the attacker is good. I just wanted. I'm not arguing against it. I just wanted to say it doesn't seem that it's exclusive to being a good hold with attacker. This tank thing has legs on it, and of course, I watched. I mean, I'll cover it later because that's something I want to talk about as somebody fighting my Jabba. But it was surprising. It was surprising what it took to actually get through that, especially as hard as you're advocating for that attacker level 6. So
I think the attacker level 6 shuts out the most off counter.
I think so. If the goal, like Fatal was saying, especially if you have like the buffs level 3, just smacking the shit out of Marin would be the goal. So,
I would love to hear Fatal's put up, but like I said, I faced all 3. I did Leia round 1, not even close to being a problem. She cleared it. I did Leia round 2, and this is just the normal set 15 because we didn't have a lot of bulk or whatever it was. And round 1, round 2, different steps. It wasn't a problem. Leia owned it. I go against the attacker. My team obliterated to nothing. Everybody's still alive on this. I didn't do shit to Leia or to Bausch. Yeah, bad.
All right. Well,
I actually played the opposite side of that matchup just to like double vouch.
No, please.
I played Jabba against Leia, and with that Kron, and literally the opener was just like,
you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that's cool.
I turned one Jabba left. Bausch is a Drogon. Turn to Bausch AoE. Drogon just fucking vanishes.
That's what happened to me. That's my fight. Drogon dead. So
what was your thing about the attacker is Boosh being able to attack? Like just Boosh already attacks a bajillion times. Now just
Mhm.
add +1 to pretty much every time she does that.
What
Oh,
was
I
the-
dig it. I like that idea.
So, Theta, what was the Datacron you faced for Leia? Was it the broken one, or was it like a set 15?
It was set 15.
Oh, okay.
Rack
Oh,
them up.
okay. Oh, okay.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving because we have a couple more teams we wanted to cover in this section. DTMG, of course, with Night Trooper, and then it could be. I've seen it with Gideon. I've seen it with Scout. In both cases, I threw a GL at it. I had an Erodium round one, so I only had 2 real matches. I threw C at it round 1, Lord Vader in the second round, and that's kind of what I did. So, what did you guys see? How did you deal with that?
I mean, this is kind of just the fate of the team, right? Sith Eternal doesn't really have a real job right now, right? And so without a job, he is just the no fun allowed dude.
I'm kind of disappointed, and I'm going to say like this because my stuff is all correct and everything like that, and I'm looking at what people use to kill it, and it's down to Malgus is still working. So that's kind of disappointing to me that Malgus can still trump it, taking in a new tool, thinking it might hold more weight. Other than stuff they're overkilling from what I can see. I didn't have to face this. I don't get the lecture, but seeing what people are using to kill it and knowing Malgus is still working is kind of makes me sad.
It has a worse overall hold rate than Gideon Scout.
Night Trooper might need a crit chance remod if you're trying to contest Malgus.
In
Yeah.
what way? How do you recommend?
Well, Malgus gets 80% for free, right? And DTMG lead is 75, and I don't think Night Trooper is self-sufficient on his own.
No, his base is like 65.
Yeah, he's like a strength attacker type range. So yeah, he needs like plus 35 or plus 40 maybe.
I was telling Tass to shoot for like 85 to 90% crit chance on him.
Yeah, if you're worried about Malgus specifically, I think that's well within range here.
Okay.
Yeah, Tass just straight up dismissed my telling him to mod it for crit chance. I remember that conversation.
Well,
I
I was
think
saying that
crit chance is
75% would be the floor that I would go, and 75 was about what I could afford, so that's what I went with.
Oh no, I'm just giving you a hard time, Tass.
2024 is the year of crit chance, and I think it's a blind spot for not a huge percentage of the player base right now.
I think
No,
I
I
think
you
you're on
read
the
that
money.
right. Like I
Yeah.
have not farmed them in some time, and I should.
I mean, that was a little bit of what I did, like in terms of remodding for crit chance when I saw the level 6 support stuff. You know, I mean, that's ramping your crit damage, and you go through all the theoreticals of like, oh man, this guy could hit so hard because he has some companion support that's going to be racking stuff up. And then I'd go and I'd take a look at it, and it's like 52% crit chance. I'm like, that's not going to do. So yeah, I completely agree. I ended up, repurposing a bunch of mods. But back to the topic, yeah, I found Malgus to be really comfortable, and I think a big part of it was the durability of Malgus, but also just the fear control that squad brings. So I found like Night Trooper had like one data point, one battle, and it was a Night Trooper OGMG with him, with DTMG, and it was I think Night Trooper maybe got like one attack off because they're just a ton of fear moving around.
Yeah, I mean, C is obviously a really simple
about a coin
matchup,
flip?
so there's nothing really to talk about with that. But for me, Lord Vader, I did make it a point.
I just pulled up GG.
What's up?
All right, I just pulled up GG, and it looks like Malgus is about a coin flip.
Oh, real? Like closer off to 50? What are your filters on that?
R7 plus, 59%. It looks like. Let me redo the filter.
So the only thing I'm going to say is,
Is
well,
that like
we can
Tank
probably call
Revive,
it.
Kron, blah blah blah.
I didn't filter by Kron.
Okay.
The only thing I'll note, and I want to see where it's at, is I don't know if this is going to do it in fives.
BKM. Yeah, I'm just looking. It's like BKM. Darth Revan crushes it. Darth Revan BSF Malik.
God, that's humiliating because that's a very high investment character.
I don't think we're going to be looking like this in fives. I think we're going to come back and talk about this in fives, and we're going to be looking at a different ball game. That's just my personal opinion.
So
on it.
then I guess it's going to be the interesting task would be finding a punch-up use on offense for the team.
That shouldn't be too hard on offense. I mean, this set is kind of
Beats Jabba.
offenders' playgrounds.
It should be Jabba.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it beats the attacker con, but it beats some permeations of Jabba.
Okay, well, next team on the list. I know Sasha wanted to cover this, and I know a couple other players mentioned this as well. Leia with this level 6 tank cron. It's the prot recovery one. There's a bug associated with it. Sasha, tell us what you know about it and how you ended up overcoming it.
Have not had the displeasure.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well,
Same.
it doesn't have a happy ending of overcoming it. So I faced a Leia Drogon Stormtrooper Han with Stormtrooper Han Kron.
Oh my god.
The Han seemed interesting. It is a little like it felt like, hey, there may be some frustration potential with it. Ended up being totally irrelevant. But the level 6, the Kron was really strong as well. It was like probably close to 300% defense, 30% health, something like that. But and the health really comes into effect because that level 6. It had the long-winded level 6, which converts health into prot. So I think there's like 20% of health becomes protection for Leia every time she goes. She's going a lot, and then the glitch appears to be that when she does fall below 100% protection, it's not just Leia. I think it's happening with any tank. The first time it happens, and only the first time, it's supposed to take them from 0 protection all the way back up to 100. So it's supposed to trigger once. It triggers repeatedely, and so I went in. I had a good sweaty match. It was a lot of fun. Both my opponent and I had dropped on the front wall. We had set some pretty interesting stuff. I brought Bane and I think it was Sith Assassin in against it in the first try. Bane was able to take the sides really without any issue, but I noticed that he was making no dent even over time against Leia, and I got about 4 minutes into that battle before I realized there was a risk that she might ult and kill him and the sides would come back. So I timed out there. And this was the last squad I had to clear on the bottom front wall. So as my frustration mounted, it was also clear, hey, just throw everything at it. So here's the stuff that I threw at a lone Leia. So it's Leia on her own. I threw BKM, Paz, and Sabine with the Sabine Datacron. Okay. And I got to a point where Leia had 16 armor shreds. I mean, after a while, it's diminishing returns. It doesn't matter. But the point being, she had effectively no defense. I had 100 stacks on Paz. I couldn't make a dent on her health. I could not get in. And that's with the Sabine Cron. Then I brought JML, JKR, and I did JKR specifically under JML because my concern was, as part of that level 6, it says that when a tank has taunt, they take 50% reduced damage from out-of-turn attacks. Everything from a JML squad is out of turn. So I'm like, aha, perfect. JKR can put buff immunity up. So that taunt won't be there, and I won't have my out-of-turn attack damage mitigated. I got buff immunity up, kept it up consistently. It didn't matter. The damage was still mitigated. It was doing half as much damage. JML, JKR, and might have been Vassal. I think I brought somebody else that had buff immunity because I wanted to ensure that taunt was never up there, and so I would have full prot damage. Didn't matter. Got nowhere. Then I brought Wampa with a nice Wampa Cron. That was actually pretty funny because Wampa I have that level 9 where I get 25% health and 25% protection, plus the prot up. Neither Leia or Wampa could do anything to one another, and it actually got to a point about, I'd say, a minute in where Wampa never went again. It was 4 minutes straight of Leia just going at Wampa, and my Wampa never getting a turn. So that was odd. Then I brought LV, and I'm like, all right, what's the best thing I can bring at this? And that I had, which wasn't a ton. I set my SLK, I set my JMK. I'd use Leia elsewhere. I brought LV, GAR, and ISC together with this a strong, good GAR Datacron. So they were going to do a ton of out-of-turn attacks. Every single time any of my guys make a move, GAR and ISC both go. That got nowhere. It was 5 minutes of nothing. Then Gigi Stapp got nowhere. Then Afra, nowhere. And at that point, I'm like, I threw Gungans. I mean, you name it. I would have Ewok'd it had I had the time. And point being, it was brick wall. It was immovable object, and I had no irresistible force. So yeah, that sucked. And I would say just be wary of it. Yeah.
I faced your monster, and I'm going to give you this, as I can only think of one answer, and it's the only one solution. That's the one I went with. And it works, but you're going to go through such a long fight. So to your point, SOK is the only thing I think that's going to do what it needs to do, because you have to ramp so high. I should have recorded the fight. The STH, dude, with that team is bananas crazy, because it like the bounce around, right? But then the next one I faced is still your prot level 6, and it was just a normal team. Everybody was gone because, I'm taking the special forces. But then it's 3 minutes of fighting Leia, and I don't care for ripping mastery. She just continues to go back, and it never fails. So eventually I finally got the last pop, but I spent 3 minutes just fighting Leia because of how much she gains. That's how crazy that level 6 is on her.
Watching a couple people do this fight, it really feels like, do you remember the old Slacker versus Lord Vader fights where you had to like do the fight?
Yeah.
Either just brute force him with stacking offense or wait for him to go above 80% health.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how that looked. Because like TJ said, you're just like beating the shit out of her for like 2-3 minutes till you just get a good crit.
Jeez. I hope I don't run into that.
It's a reminder, and you will. You'll definitely run into
at the
this,
top.
But
At the top,
joke's on you. I fell right.
No one's going to abuse Krons at the top end. That's
one
not
would
a
do
real
that.
thing.
The thing that jumps out to this, like I know a lot of times when it comes out, when they announce Datacron sets, everybody gets a little frustrated that this phrasing is in there. But the phrase excluding galactic legends, that's why that phrase is in so many of these abilities, because that level 6 on a GL is yes, there is that bug where it repeats the prot, but even if it didn't, you're still facing ramping protection, everything else. So
yeah,
it's
rough.
It's just funny you talk about it, because I started talking with Taz, like, I think this is going to be great, man. It's going to do really good. And then I faced it, and that's why my response to Taz was, holy hell, this is the way. It will just be everywhere, because it is so prescribed what you have to take, in my opinion, to kill Leia. Just killing Leia is bananas nuts. And if you start putting in defense and other things that are going to make her even tankier, it's like, dude.
Very fair. All right, guys, I know a couple teams left to close this out. We'll be brief about these. Queen Amidala, I know Dagger wanted to mention, I just wanted to say real quick that I did have 2 uses of Bane against it that were successful, but I know other folks have had otherwise. So Dagger, go on.
Oh, yeah, just looking through my history, watching people fail with Bane against my Queen Amidala. Watching other people fail with their Bane, I think you want to have Talon or Set at this point.
I use Set both times. I will say that.
Yeah. I think they're using the shitty Sith as or Malik. Malik is probably the ideal. Now that I'm thinking,
probably Malik.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. You basically want like a real second. This whole Banecron spoiling us into using SAS bullshit is no longer a thing. But yeah, I lost to JMK because Obi-Wan was just like, yeah, what if your people just like died through under their protection? I was like, oh, I wouldn't like that. And he's like, well, that sucks. They're dead.
As is Padawan Obi-Wan's want.
Yeah. And they were just like, sorry, what's up, Fatal?
We could talk about this in a bit, but I think I just killed Set 15 Amidala a day or 2 ago, so I think Set 16 is going to be her future.
Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Support.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't doubt that at all. I'm simply saying that, like, she's still a bitch. Like, even, like, I reserved JMK for her this week and went 1 for 2. Like, this is bullshit.
I just laugh when you say, I'm looking at, you said you want to save Set, right? I'm looking at my round 3, 27-second fight. That's with Bane and Set. That's gone.
Yeah,
2 of my holds. That's what. No, you're right on the Malik. I think if you're ever going to take it, I don't think it can
for
be
greatest
Malik.
reliability.
I think you want Talon or Malik. Talon,
Yeah,
I think, gives you a little bit more oomph because it keeps Bane alive.
I am also very interested to hear Fatal on the idea of what you taking the Set 16, because this Set 16 is just
just a delicious desire to destroy
all
all.
right. Well, let's move to that last team in the meta matchups then. Just a note about the Gungans. So yeah,
Don't bet Boss Nashcron. I traded it both times I saw it. Don't be dumb.
for
Don't
sure.
bet.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that a lot last three season, that Jar Jar proved to be significantly better.
Yes.
Specifically, it's like a
Stopping off
66% win chance. So
Not the off counters.
yeah, it's just better. It's just better at holding off lesser challengers. So that said,
Although we have a solution apparently, according to Fatal and TJ.
fine. Just rip the words, rip the air right out of my lungs, Dagger. Just yoink. No,
I
do it,
got
do
something
it.
to put in your mouth to replace that air. How about
That's
that?
fair.
That's nice.
Fair. That's fair. No, but actually, please go on, guys. I do want to hear about that. That
Yeah.
BKM counter Fatal.
Yeah, I mean, what I was telling you about when we were playing Helldivers last Thursday, it pretty much just all played out to be true. So last every season, I tried Bo against Gungans, and I actually tried to like cutting paws. I think it was for like armor or something like that, and it was like pretty transparently a horrible idea. But the reason why it felt horrible is like, oh, I realized like Paz's job isn't to be Paz, because Paz doesn't really do shit in Bo-Katan anyway. Paz is there because it's a 3-hit basic you double call. And so at the start of prep for the season, I was looking at the insight data for Bo-Katan against Gungans, and the data was all, I think it was either BAM or IG-12 or Armor. Like, nobody had tried Sabine. I was like, okay, Sabine has the 4-hit basic, but I've got to confirm, like, because the generator doesn't technically have turn meter, but it does
turn
also,
meter. Yeah.
Yep. So I did an arena test, and she did 4 hits, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this shit's going to be real. And that's what I was like, right before GAC lockout, will not shut the fuck up to Tass about it. Like, I'm pretty sure I just
You
saw
were
that.
really enthusiastic for sure. I'm delighted it worked for you. Here, I got her basic up on screen for everybody that's not familiar with it.
Yeah, I think you're paused for us in Discord, just so you know.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, no. That's I minimized OBS on my second monitor, but it's still recording live. So you're still. Thank you for telling me though, because you guys couldn't see. That's my bad.
I will say on my third match, I did get absolutely blown up by a Jar Jar Terminator loop. The reason for it happening is because of another team, OG Bo with Paz and Watt. I have my Paz kind of really dressed up to the nines with like good speed, good offense, high protection, and all this stuff. And Paz gets reactive Terminator. And I actually still have this week, so I'm probably still going to lose with it this week. But Jar Jar doing his whole early preload stuff, hitting Paz, causing Paz to gain turn meter. If your Paz goes before Bo-Katan, your Paz has to hit Jar Jar, gets your team cooldown increased, and you could potentially just get blown up from there. So if you are interested in this counter, I would say you definitely want to be on a slower Paz so that you don't have to worry about these shenanigans. Because if Bo-Katan goes first...
How would you qualify that? Not faster than, or what? How would you put that?
I mean, you would have to do the math on how much Terminator Pause gains. But if you're solely interested in this counter, because Bo Pause Watt is just kind of a novelty anyway. It's not like it's not that real of a team. I mean, it's actually like pretty respectful. But anyway, like it's not.
Yeah, you've been doing stuff. It's not just this season. You've been doing stuff with that. So I mean, it holds water.
It is far better than it has any right to be. It's very, very fun. But I would say solving Gungans a much higher priority. Just like I don't know what the math is, and I'm not gonna find out what the math is for week 3. Once I actually do like have time to get my mods right, I'm just gonna like make him speedless or whatever.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about a ton of speed on him, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not core to the counter. Like I literally just need him not to go, and if he can just do that, that'd be great.
Okay, fair enough. Let me see here. All right, I think that that about wraps it up.
Do you want to show what it looks like with the level 6?
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. We have a video on that. Let me blow that up.
I'll call it the weaker one. So the only reason I'm going to say this is I faced the Boss Nass one. I call it the weaker one. I 100% agree with Dagger. Don't get me wrong. But what I love about this is this has the additional stacks of the generator that you gain. It only take us 15 to 20 seconds. See, once BKM goes, you watch the generator disappear. And this is with the additional
music on and everything. I appreciate your enjoyment. All right, grenades out. Okay. Went with your prod up.
Nowhere to go, so it's fine. But this right here.
Okay.
So remember to get the additional 10. That's gone.
Boy.
It's even better, and the nice thing about it that we get to see is if you go watch Zareth did against the Jar Jar one. I just don't. Just
so this is a NAS one where we already copped 2 Jar Jar being the more dangerous composition, but
right, but
just to
generator.
show how quickly he blew out, the shield generator. Yeah,
right.
It's a big
and
deal.
that's less generators, which is cool, but it just doesn't matter, and the fight's already done.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. No, I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. Move that back up. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next segment. We've typically in the past we've run this kind of separately, but I think it makes more sense, especially with a expanded cast, to just kind of knock this out, one person at a time. Your favorite attack and defense of the week. So I have each of you guys Swugga.gg's pulled up, so I can highlight the details if you want when we get to you. But I guess I'll cover defense first because I just want to say this is my max health, light side level 3, grit level 6, complete whatever stats. Like I swear I didn't re-roll any of these stats, and it closed out Taro's Afra. And then he did not one-shot it with Inquisitors, whereas he has generally been one-shotting Jawas with Inquisitors. And then, cleaned it up, whatever, with Mon Mothma. That was a good one. Let me see. Attack-wise, there was one, wasn't there? Yeah, I liked that one. I don't know. Is that the one I really want to say? I kind of forgot where I was going with it. Ooh, well, I guess this is worth a note because I underestimated this. So this can be an attack that failed, and that's kind of the rule, by the way, Fatal. There really isn't a hard rule, but the idea is like you highlight your attack of the week, defense of the week. In the case of an attack, it can be an attack that failed. It can just be something that you think is noteworthy. But in my case, JML, Cal, and Hoda going after this Kelleran team with Xeris, Luminara, and this Healer Kron. So this is both of these guys double reviving, stacking health. It was a bad time. I obviously smited Kel with Jedi Cal when the time came, but and I won't say that 100% of the fight I managed the clock well, but for most of it, I was just spamming coins on Hoda trying to burn down Xeris, and that shit ain't work. So, yeah, I cleaned that up with, Seer Malicos because I had it left over at that point. So, I'm glad it wasn't any more challenging that to get around. But, yeah, I did not come correct, and I got blown out. Dagger, how about you? Your favorite attack and defense of the week?
Round 2. They're both round 2.
All right, let's go.
Wampa. Wampa against Boo Boo Gas. Don't be setting Boo Boo Gas. Don't be setting any kind of gas.
I heard Fatal say the same thing on his stream the other day. People need to stop doing it.
People love that team. People just love to put that team at it. I'm begging you, man. I will log into your account and steal your TW maps and also fix your GSC board along the way, and you will thank me for it.
Hey! You're in Ma, not Call. You can't say that first part.
That comp, the Gas Arc Echo, is actually quite effective against Tuskens on offense, I will say. So, I mean, why would you trade away something that counters one of, the most traditionally difficult and hardy 3 versus 3 teams when, you can just get annihilated on the cheap for 59 by Wampa and a Wampa.
And the Kron lets it be 59 as well.
Yes,
that's the biggest kick in the dick. Is that the Kron lets it be 59 now.
It's so disrespectful.
And then the on defense, as you scroll through, you'll see him impale himself on Jabba, like you've mentioned about, we've talked about before. But I want you to go down past him impaling himself on Jabba, down to SLK eating his JML and then his Leia.
Ooh, looky there. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then for other shits and giggles, he also ate shit on my Ray because he's in... No, he didn't. He beat Ray. But yeah.
No, he got you, Ray. Yeah. You're probably thinking of a different
But
round. Look at him. He
Star
killed it too, to you guys' point earlier.
it was QA at the top where he lost to Bane. That's what it was. So on top of all that, he also ate shit with
That's true. Yeah, and season to you guys' point, there's the set. Yeah.
Bane.
Yeah, that's a nasty bit of business.
Yeah,
Okay.
the hold of the week was the Slacker eating JML where he was slower, because I didn't remod. JML where he was slower, and then eating his Leia. And I didn't look at the Leia to see if it was a tank cron, but that'd be even more hilarious if that was a tank cron on the Leia. It was probably just a bulk, though.
That was a damage reduction set 15 bulk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It would have been more vindicating, more pleasurable for me if that was the tank cron just getting its booty blown out by Slacker.
Yeah, you'll have to otherwise just put up with him just getting annihilated in 52 seconds. So
Yeah.
Somehow I think you'll survive.
Yeah.
Sasha, good sir. Sasha Aisha, my dear friend. How about your favorite attack and defense of the week?
If favorite defense, I'll go with one that I think probably won't get attention elsewhere, but that was the viability of the Iden Cron. I said Iden with scout and range, and it beat up a Wampa. It
Heard of this magic. I failed to this. Okay, it wasn't the Wampa
it held
Cron.
against
I
Afra.
see. Yeah.
Correct. It was not the Wampa Cron, but then it held a few battles down against Afra with a pretty nice 000 Cron. So yeah, it was good to see Afra. I think it probably still has a good shot at falling against Adrad, but it was nice to see it do a little bit of work. So I'll stick with that one. And then on the offensive side, it was the Gungan counter of I used Padme, Snips, and Shock, and it felt fairly comfortable. I think it was a 56, so that was nice. Gungan's between. I think there are some Treya options, and then a few other things that you can use, but Padme seems particularly well set up with it with their Datacron there.
Very good. Very good. TJ, how about you? Your favorite attack and defense?
I'll go with defense first. Go to round 1 for me.
Round 1, gotcha.
Yep, and then go to the LV fight.
Gotcha.
This was cool. So if you look, that's BKM losing to my LV. And there's nothing fancy other than the level stuff.
Level 3.
Yeah, dude. That's all like
the stats or whatever. Yeah, it's all right.
Seeing BKM
17% offense isn't garbage though, and honestly, survivability stats besides.
That is probably one of the most amusing holds I've seen.
That's what I'm telling you. It's like you were talking about favorite, dude. It's like old school dots up level 3 that we used to have.
Oh, that's a pretty dog. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
But it's BKM, so you would expect.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly great cron. It didn't have high offense or anything. But
it's who it's beating.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would not have chosen this on my bingo card for sure. Would not.
No, man. This is not the free space. This is not the Queen Amidala or Jabba free space.
Yeah, so it's like, that's cool, dude. I'll take that all day. Seeing BKM Trump, and then that's the Gungan counter now, whatever you want to call it, that, dude, that's cool for defense.
I don't know if you guys ever played. I don't know how much you guys actually played bingo, but I played bingo a fair amount, like at a bingo hall, and like 10% of the cards have like really niche things on them. Mm-hmm. That's like one of those 10%ers where you get the 10% card and you're like, fuck. And then it happens. You're like,
yeah. So it's like, hey, man, I'll take that. And then favorite attack, honestly, has been Star Killer on the reg and just revisiting and then knocking the dust off that thing.
Well,
and
now, was it this round? Because this was a set 15, so I know this.
No, I got it. No, I watched it in round 2. So I saw Zareth, and I'm like, I'm going to try this. And then this is the one where, like I said, it's a long fight.
Do that there. You need a different Star Killer. Yeah, there it is. Yep, and that's against there's your Visas healer cron. Okay. So,
yes, and how long is the fight?
4 minutes and change that you spent.
Yeah, that was a while, man.
I've got that video. Like I said, if we ever want to show it, I'm happy to show it.
Okay, you had attacker, a good chunk of defense. Yeah, 38% physical damage is all right. The speed up basic is level
6. The support level 6 really intrigues me for Star Killer because Mara Jade and EP are support.
Fair. Try again. Mara Jade is not support, sir.
Attacker. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
she No, so it's like what happens when you do the fight. And that's why I said I had the video.
She's
If we
going
want
to
to put
call
it up.
EP twice, right?
So she does the call to assist, and she does the bang, and then the bang again. And that's why I said there's so many turns. I've got the video of the Visa fight where I'm like
That's
trying to understand the mechanics, and it's like I'll show it, but it's too long for now. But that'd be good to put it on Tasha's channel so you can actually see how this works. But even when you screw up, I was 3 minutes and 45 seconds into the fight, and everybody came back, and I still turned it back around and clutched.
What were the stats on there? Sorry, can you go back? What were the stats on there?
The almost 39% physical damage, about 27% special damage, and just under 100% defense.
That's a pretty like spectacular cron too, for what it's worth.
I was gonna say the physical damage isn't nothing. Okay, so
no, it's good stuff, but it's
but still being able to fight. I love the 3 on it too,
especially with the true damage level 6. Like that 40% extra offense with the true damage level 6 is actual bananas level damage.
It's true. It's significant, no doubt. All right, last but not least, Fatal, sir. Your favorite attack and defense of the week?
Favorite attack is what I kind of alluded to earlier, which is I'm pretty sure I have a solution for Powercry Amidala that like is just kind of a default response from now on.
Wow.
Yeah.
What round is this? What are we looking for?
Round 3.
Round 3. Yeah, I saw this stream.
Yep. Really a nice dramatic timing too. It was a good, solid stream moment I was happy with. But yeah, JML J Calberis with Barris 9.
Right. So I suppose we should say up until this point you had withdrawn, and so really it was like a completely original team, not preloaded, right?
Yes.
It's like a pure fight. Yeah.
What's the prod on that cron?
Yeah, let's have a look. See here.
Probably
so about just under 10% crit damage, 200 real casual, 257% defense, and 22% health. So no additional protection.
No extra coin damage. Okay.
Yeah. So light side max health damage on level 3, healer level 6, Xeris level 9. Tell us about the nuances of this one, Fatal.
The nuance is they can't kill you, and you never press F-Lux unless you have a Death Wish. And if you do have a Death Wish, just hit F-Lux and they'll kill you promptly. But if you would otherwise like to live, just mod your mutants for health, and they can't kill you. And it's pretty neat. I enjoy not dying.
When you say mod your units, did you also remod JML for health then?
So I actually had... So my JML, I can actually just double check right now. I have hot utils open with the loadout. My JML was almost certainly still on protection primaries, but there was a past season homebrew where I think I had snuck him onto a bit of health. Let me check him right now.
I remember that was a few seasons. That was a while ago now. Like something.
I remember there were times where I put JML into like 4 or 3 health stats.
Okay, my JML had 18,000 extra health, so
okay,
like really not that much. I'm trying to even see it on the secondaries, and I'm not seeing it. It might have just been a health set. Yeah, he had. He had 5% health on the squared and a health set, and that was all the extra added health. For reference.
Mm-hmm.
I was mostly just seeing how replicable that is for the masses.
Yeah, so right now, the JML that I had locked in last week, and I kind of just let it roll over because it didn't break, is kind of just a normal default JML. And obviously, I would imagine that a good amount of that defense on that Kron certainly helped.
I would think so.
You would think so, but at the same time, I would also point out that this JML is not tilted for this fight at all. So if you wanted to offset that Kron investment with modding, I think there's more than plenty of room to do so because, this is just an attritional fight. This is just, you just set up a condition where they literally just cannot touch you. And once you achieve that, then it doesn't really matter how much lesson.
So you're just like, what, who is it that you're smiting? Who are you waiting for to smite when they reveal themselves or you can catch them out?
I think I did How first with lessons, and I think I nuked on Amidala just to have, if something were to break bad.
You were able to keep Pow out of stealth and just hammer him down with coins, and then you smited Queen. Okay.
I would say blind if I, and I don't know anything about this fight. I know, so I'm just going to go off of how I approach this fight in general. If I have the ability to kill one character, I want to kill Amidala first because it makes the cleanup a lot easier.
Yeah, that was the logic. And I do think nuking Pow probably could have been reasonable, but I did the Amidala nuke out of cleanup fears. But honestly, again, if I did press F6 at one point because I'm a dumbass, and it did nearly cost me to just like lose Cal immediately because I'm a dumbass. But I do think again, this is just straight up. I'm trying to think of any past matchup that we had like this. This is genuinely just like it's a DPS check, and as long as you're Barriskron, you've got that plus 150% health. You just want your characters to be at equilibrium. I mean, I think the one place that I would shout out the most, because I think this is where my modding style deviates the most for most people. I'm a JCal damage hater. I think JCal's damage output is just garbage unless you're fighting like a Darth Revan. And so my Jedi Cal modding default is speed and health. And the speed for this counter doesn't really matter, but the health 100% would.
We're talking about like 120k.
I think I have a speed arrow on him, so I think mine's like 112 at the moment. But I mean, again, the speed. If you're trying to offset Kron investment with mod investment, cheat down some speed, grab some health, grab some defense.
Do you think 110? Do you think like 108 to 110 is sufficient?
I mean, again, it would really probably just depend on your Krons versus your mod, right?
That's fair.
If you're worried, okay, my defense isn't that high, let me offset it with the mods, I would cheat up on health, cheat up on defense. Yeah, just trying to maintain that equilibrium. Because my Cal was getting beat up on, but he was able to chill and deal with it.
Were you in the damage reduction stance when he was getting beat up on?
It was a few times over the course of the fight, but the way that I play, I try to prefer to just keep him in damage reduction for as long as possible. So overall, the answer is probably yes, but he might have gotten whacked a couple times while and stuff.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I was just looking at my stuff to see like if it's replicable for me. So that I just had a couple of follow-ups based on what I have.
Yeah, if this is a point of interest for people, focus on health. I'd imagine focus on defense because of, I mean, Pow does true damage, but he also does damage as well. But this is why, like, right? If this works, I can't imagine that JML has a higher calling than this right now. This frees up.
Yeah, go check out Fatal's VOD on his channel.
Yeah. JML's basically sea level at this point.
Yeah, no. So this to me, again, it wasn't really the plan. It just kind of happened to work out. If anything,
super
I kind of wish I had
value.
more time.
And like you said, you were in prop modding anyway. So when we're talking about extra special investment, it's
I
really
can
just
post my
about
JML's modding right now, or I can post my JML and JCal modding just to show like.
Yeah, but your message is like outside of like what you said about the speed and health on Jedi Cal, which maybe more people do something that has more offense or some more focus on offense. You're saying really it's the essential part of the recipe is the Kron.
It's the Barris level 9, and then it's just your mix of health and defense on all your characters. You just want to be happy and healthy. That Barris 9, I think, is. I think the issue is that the set is just very flashy in a lot of ways that I think it might be overshadowing people's attention from stuff like Barris. But I just want to take a second to point out that, that Kron just gives you 150 health. And that's just a very big number. And that can be a tool for solving a great many of things. Who knows what the future of that Kron may hold.
Is it the long text revive level 6?
I'm not
It's
even
the
sure
long text healer. Yeah, that's what I've got on screen for him here.
I don't even know if that long text mattered, to be honest. What does it even say? I mean, I know it has the revive.
Yeah, I'll read that off. Whenever a character is healed by an allied healer, they reduce their cooldowns by 1. Whenever an allied healer is critically hit, they recover 10% health and gain 10 speed, stacking max 100 for the rest of the encounter. Whenever an ally is revived on an ally's turn, all allies recover 100% max health and max protection. And the first time each healer ally is defeated, they are revived and recover 100% max health.
I mean, it strikes me as nice to have, but I think fundamentally this is a stat check, right?
Yeah. Well, the part of the level 6 that speaks to me is the cooldown reduction for coin. So you can just keep coining.
I'm going to be honest, my JML gameplay is just so focused on coin juggling already that I don't even know if I ever leveraged that cooldown reduction.
I think what Dagger's saying, you probably, if you weren't noticing, you probably might not have noticed that you didn't necessarily even have a single gap, in the number of coins you were able to just chain.
Yeah,
that's what I was kind of saying. Is I like the idea of being able to coin on every turn.
Yeah, that's kind of rigged. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. The only thing I'd add, and this is like a tiny little bit of testing I tried to do in Squad Arena to understand that healing level 6 and how it works. And this doesn't negatively impact this counter, but because Barris, there's this passive healing. Ideally, like every time the opponent's attacking, if they're critting, your healer is healing whoever just got crit, and their cooldown should be reduced. When I looked at it in Squad Arena with that Datacron equipped, from what I could observe, is it doesn't count it as healing unless you were actually below 100% and actually gained some heal.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, because otherwise, like I figured Lumi's dots, for example, or HOTS rather, heal over time. So it's like, oh, that's perfect. Then every single turn, everybody that has a HOT from Lumi should be having their cooldowns reduced. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not the case. Like again, I mean, Fatal's counter
have to be a beneficiary
smooth as butter without it.
Yeah. You actually have to be gaining health from the heal.
Yeah, because Xeris' passive doesn't say you have to. Xeris' passive triggers even if you're not at full. There's like a check.
Yep.
And so that's good to know because that's what I was
thinking.
That's
a great observation.
Yeah.
That actually makes my like cheesy idea like not actually cheesy. It makes it like, whatever. It's still nice.
One other little bit of like amateur research I did on a level 6, but it's on the support level 6 that I was curious to see if you look at Tuskens and you have Chieftain as a support and the typical 3v3 squad then has 2 attackers. Raider, we like, in 3s it seems like it's a tank, but it's actually classified as an attacker, plus Warrior. The dots that are put on the opponent come from, on the opponent when they gain turn meter, come from Chieftain's unique. That's right, it's Chieftain's unique. So, and that does count. Like, so when those go up, they are attributed to. So, just FYI. So that one does work, but the Barris one, I couldn't get the free and easy cooldown reduction. But I'm not going to need it if I'm using Fatal's JML counter. So that's perfect.
Hey, yeah, that's a winner. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Awesome. Go ahead, Dagger.
Oh, I was just going to say that's actually making me look to see if I have a prod up on dots support crime.
Yeah,
my Tuskens. That's slick.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
The numbers get pretty outrageous. They get, I mean, as you would expect. I mean, you've seen how the dots climb, right, in those matches, and so you can potentially get Warrior to do
although
million damage.
Actually, does okay? What if the I'll spoil a little bit. My Tuskens. Actually, I haven't even looked at most of these fights, but my Tuskens did pretty well last week. And granted, it was an imbalanced matchup, so I'm not reading too much into it. But just thinking ahead, because I was about to literally go reroll for protection dots right now, does that introduce a desperation Hail Mary play where someone could just
yes. Totally like Vader. Exactly right. It's like, you seem really robust and strong against 99% of the predators out there, but you're going to find that one that goes straight to that Achilles heel, and it's Boba. You're right. OG Boba. If OG Boba survives long enough to get a rocket off, you're exploding in so many pieces.
Also, it makes gas an easier attack as well.
True. Ram.
Yeah. Okay, I think I might just leave them as is because the support with high defense did well enough that I think I'm kind of content with this.
Yeah, more than reasonable. Yeah. I didn't think about the prod up level.
Yeah,
no, it sounded really fucking good for a minute.
Team, not optimizing
what do you got there, Phil? You got the 15% turn meter level 3 for those guys, or speed up? What is it?
I don't even remember, to be honest. It's a defense. It's a defense cron with support level 6, and there's no other thought put into it.
I think what he's saying, Cass, is it has a level 3.
Yeah. Anyone will do. Sure.
Oh, you're gonna love this. This is optimal. It's a dark side tank revive.
Okay, yeah, absolutely optimized. Yeah. Okay, great. That's fantastic. Yeah. If you can get the defense.
The summon's an attacker. Never mind. I was gonna make a joke about the summon, but he's
fucking wish. I believe me. I wish.
Well, it's just a thematic.
Raider just gets assigned the tank trait.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, it's time to wrap this one up. Let's go ahead and go to the takeaways and your final thoughts. We'll go ahead and start off with Dagger. What do you got? What's your word for the people? What are you looking forward to applying in week 2? What's your final word of advice? Lump it all together.
I'm looking forward to being able to use Datacrons in week 2. My Datacrons week 1 were a little sparse. I mean, I made a bunch of level 9s, but I was leaning very heavily on my bulk crons week 1. So I'm looking forward to using like the new crons this week a little bit more. Got that Xeris cron all rolled up. Got the Visas cron. Yeah, looking to have a lot of fun with those. Also, just like we talked about in the meta thing, it's like figuring out what to do with your GLs is sometimes tough because in 3v3 you get punished for stumbling a lot harder, but at the same time, depending on the Datacron set, like right now, C, JML, and Ray feel like below some of the Triple Omi characters. Right? Yeah. Like they don't really feel like they're producing GL results. I mean, the JML thing, killing Queen Amidala aside, right? But it's like trying to figure out what to do with the GLs that don't feel as useful, and then obviously leading into abusing that Leia on defense, I think, is what most of us are going to do until they fix it. Which also means I have to pull Slacker off defense, even though like that was just a fun one to have on defense because the Slacker cron's silly.
Fair, completely fair. All right.
I don't know. I've got another
really quick. Remember to watch your content creators because they fail, so you don't have to.
Yes. Yes, you rubber stamped that one in there. Fair enough. Sasha, I was turning to you next anyway, so yeah, have at it. What's your thoughts?
Oh, well, I was going to say having to take Slacker off defense. I so don't want to because I enjoy Slacker on D right now. And I feel like I've got maybe a good 10 to 15% of my roster that I haven't thrown at Leia yet. So, no, it's just not going to work. I'll probably have to pull Slacker. But to the two things kind of looking forward, and it's Datacron set specific, is like I'm loving this Datacron set, which is why I always go hog wild on this shit. But Cup and Jedi Consular, both really interesting level 9s, not game changing, but I have a Jedi Consular use that is, I think, sound for me, and I'll just throw it out there. It's like what I plan on doing, and this is not super exciting, but I don't have the max level speed for Cat, just for the max level speed mods that most of my opponents do, so I always have a slower Cat. It's still, if you were to do a JMK mirror counter, Jedi Consular is such a nice third because you're guaranteed a full 57. Because no matter who they leap, because if they leap JMK doesn't go anywhere. If they leap Ahsoka, then your Cat, then you revive Cat. And if they leap your Jedi Counselor, he pops back up. It's a great 3v3 mirror counter for JMK. So that's a use that I'll throw out there. I haven't been able to make use of it. And then I'll punt on Cup. I know Cup has some interesting applicability in 5s. I haven't quite nailed down something that's worthwhile in 3s. I had a few possibilities, but maybe that's for next week as I try to have a little bit of fun. So that's mine, a Jedi Consular use at least.
Very good. Very good. No, good ones there. TJ, how about you? What are you looking forward to in week 2? What's your last thought for the people?
I'm going to make it easier. As long as you have the level 6, you don't need to have applicable level 3. I think people are assuming that you need to have that, and that's a nice to have. I'm going to call it a nice to have. From what I've seen and been able to use, if you have the level 6, that's the moneymaker. As long as you have that and the work, the job will get done. If you have a dark side, but the level 6 is optimal for everything and the stats are nice, that can go on your light side team and vice versa. So don't discount how strong Swiggle 2.0 with these level 6s are.
I think this might be the least emphasized level 9 group. It truly is pure 6 game.
Yeah, it's definitely the outstanding ability set out of 3.
Yeah, also these are some of the best level 6s we have seen ever.
It's a new
most transformative,
right That's
the
reason I
we've
say.
had some double damage ones. We've had the cooldown. These remind me almost on the same power level of remember the Empire cooldown reduction level 6 from a year and a half ago. They honestly remind me of that. It's like every faction now just has an oppressive level 6.
So
some of the other level 6s are actually useful.
Just to finish my thought,
please
don't mind the level 3. Just worry about the level 6. That was my thought, but thank you for your help, Dagger.
Daggers, just don't worry about that. Don't worry about the hijackers, TJ. I got your back.
Yeah. No, but that was good. That's what I said. I love this set, man. It's such a brand new game right now, and having 3 characters in there. I love Fatal's point that this feels like you have to really come with it, but it's like the fun and the theory crafting that comes with putting these crazy supporters or these attackers with these teams is like, this is not the same fight. You don't get to just go look at GG and here's your answer. You have to actually come back with the process.
Very good. Very good. All right, Fatal, sir, how about you? What's what are you looking forward to here in week 2? Clearly this JML, but what are you looking to try? And your final piece of advice for all the folks at home.
I am honestly not sure what I'm looking forward to yet. I did a lot of defense cooking in week 1, but I'm still the kind of mismatch aspect is making it really hard to feel good. Like I think the GACS3 that I put up has some some fun stuff in it, but it's hard to tell exactly whether it's like truly on that level.
Right.
The one thing that I did mess with last week that I do potentially want to poke at again this week, just because it was a dirty fucking cheeser who solved it last week and I pulled too early, is I potentially want to continue exploring Bane on defense, especially now that JML against Amidala is potentially working. I would maybe just need to make sure that I have a JMK counter lined up first. But especially
care to share who you're thinking is the lucky third to go with Bane and I don't know, presumably Setter Malik.
So
Savage, right? Is in there?
There's 2 ways it could go, because I was curious about Bane on defense in the past, and I actually looked for data and I saw that there wasn't actually that much enough to be like, okay, this is probably still a bad idea. But like I'm kind of curious, and I know there are a few people who were posting it. I didn't hear on how it went for them last week, but there should be more data out there now.
Yeah.
The thing that I was working on that is probably still not worth, but I don't think she's sacred either. I had a concept for Vsauce paired with Bane. The hope of it being that I'm a defense player. I really just despise powerful characters on offense trivializing puzzles. So naturally, I was like looking at Vsauce, and it's like, okay, here's a character who tries to revive people, give them a chance to play with 100% turn meter. Okay, who is the duo that could use it in a maybe interesting way? And Bane strikes me as a possibility of that, but So I posted Savage lead Bane Vsauce last week, and it got killed by LV. So I don't know how to read into that, because it's like, okay, the person was holding AGL, so they're not even a real player anyway. So did I overreact to that match? Or because that's obviously like still not a great trade, but then okay, well Bane is apparently having trouble against Leia. I don't need him against Amidala anymore, so yeah, it's really that JMK question. And then if I can solve that JMK question, then I don't really need him, and I can just start throwing curveballs on defense. It's possible, I think, that the Vsauce setup might be a little bit overwrought. I think that it's just, if they bring a way to block revives or something like that, then you can just defuse the setup before it starts. But I might just go explore full Sith or something like that.
Well, since you mentioned it, I did just throw it up here on screen. I just sorted on for Bane lead, assuming both of his Omicrons, and Kyber 1, no cleanups. Those are the filters I threw on. That's about it. I didn't specify Datacron or anything. So very small handful. We can see like 7 battles total in Kyber 1.
Those are probably people from my Discord. Okay, Leia you expect, Maul you expect.
Leia and Lord Vader getting, decent scores. Apparently you can really rough it out with DR, BSF, Malik against what exactly? That's with, DR and Malik. It's a pretty decent commitment. Alright. It's neat to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I am curious for the space. It's really just kind of a question of, I think, the shape of the rest of the meta on.
Very good.
How spooky is JMK Padme really?
For my part, what I'm looking forward to in week 2 is definitely being less on the back foot. I had the unfortunate circumstance of both of my real opponents last week, having way more datacrons than me. So I'm certainly going to be less than most everybody, but I'll have more options. I feel like I have to cheese less. I can actually try some more interesting defense when I'm sure that you're not just going to march right through for 56, 57. So, I don't know. Definitely some more power teams potentially getting rotated onto defense. I'm not exactly sure what, because a couple things are thrown into disarray in my head now that we're talking about this JML counter and stuff. So, new options. But that's really the theme of set 16, right? Is just new options galore.
I do think this season does have potential to go wide. I have, I would say, 13 teams that I feel are good and threatening.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, I think the name of the game for defense is always to go wide if you're really just trying to put pressure on somebody. And I feel like the building blocks are here that haven't been solved yet.
Fair. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess my last bit of advice is, so yeah, we're done with Conquest. Resume, signing those crystals back to mods. But as far as increased success in week 2, look, scout your opponent, check GG, see what they did. My personal piece of advice is always to play the person more than the game. When you have data to see what they like, play off that first. Tendency is a powerful thing. So that's about it for me. But I want to thank all of you guys. Thank you for getting together here for the show, and Fatal for joining us as for the very first time as a regular cast member. So thanks for making the time.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, I cut you off there. You were saying.
No, that's it. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. No worries, man. No worries. Okay, well, it's about time for me to wrap things up. If you want to see me live, that's twitch.tv/Tassinix. I guess we do need to include Fatal, his stream here, because he's the only one of the rest of us that's a regular content creator. So, shout out your channel, Fatal.
Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV, and then youtube.com/theplaybook.
Boom, you can find him there. So definitely got to give him his due. And really, you want to check out that round 3 of this last week. He had some great fights in there. As far as other places to catch my content, of course, the Plotting and Scheming show here is featured on my YouTube, Tassinix Gaming. That's also a podcast out on Spotify and Google Podcasts. I looked into what it takes to actually get set up on Apple, and they want me to jump through a bunch of hoops, sign a credit card, make like a tentative purchase, a bunch of crap. Like it ain't worth it. All of you wonderful Apple users who have asked for it, I tried. It's just a pain. Abandon all hope, But otherwise, you can find that on the YouTube channel. And of course, I also have the other Slugger related stuff there, the Datacron set videos that I make with Aesop Rock, one of the top players in the game. We've got the videos out right now for set 15 and 16, so check those out. And of course, my most recent series on mod guides, just picking up factions that you guys were asking about and kind of rolling from there. You guys have really been liking them. I'm going to keep doing them, so thank you for your support. And of course, if you like what I'm doing and you want to support the stream, you got to check out my Patreon, Tassinix Gaming. I do, also in my links, I do have a Cash App because some of you asked about that, so I did make one for you. That's also there. But anyway, check out patreon.com/Tassinix for any upwardly mobile GAC player. There's something there of interest to you. At $5 a month, you get your foot into the Task House, where you get early access to Plotting and Scheming. You're going to get it in time for your round 1 planning. Normal release is on Friday, so that can give you a little bit of an edge on your week every time. You get early access to the Datacron set videos as well, dedicated text and voice channels where you can usually find me lurking, no matter what I'm doing. And of course, I want to thank all the folks that sign up here: Andrew, White Wolf, Sam Vimes, Jobin4527, Stark Strategy Gamer, Raise Malbus, Brock Thudsteel, Renee Bebe, Deadpool Cal28, Johnny B. Ottawa, JJ's Productions, Sweens14, Darth QP PMG, Arj, and I know I have one new sign up that I don't want to miss. That is Squed. Appreciate you signing up, man. Thank you. Of course, next tier up, let's see, this one Yep. So at VIP Access Plus, that is the bundled patron access to me and to OmegaBot. So if you watch my streams at the start, I'll go over this report on my opponent. No other tool gives you such a powerful at-a-glance view of your opponent's offensive and defensive tendencies. Fantastic stuff. Thank you to Stryker and Desh Sotnikam for taking that offer. And then the top bundle at VIP Access Premium is for double bots. You get patron access to me, OmegaBot, and Hot Utils, which is the premier tool, for mass loadout management, mod slicing, switching between TW, Grand Arena, Raid, all with a couple of clicks. Fatal actually uses it regularly for his own Grand Arena modding. I like to do things manually, but it's, you can get great results for making the most out of your roster with that. So thank you to Quig, Ibanez, Sir Boss, Trevor Boy Gaming, Funky, and Focus for signing up there. And at the top of the list, Jester's Club Elite, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper, by far my most generous supporter over the years. He'll pop in to stream from time to time, drop hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, extraordinary support. Appreciate you, man. Last but never least should be our special thanks. First to Yoda Force, one of my original supporters, bought me the mic I'm speaking to you on. He has long since quit the game, but we remember him fondly from the other side. To Mrs. T, my wife, who has kept my very curious, industrious daughter from getting completely in my hair while I am attempting to record this show and being halfway decent at the game. And last on the list, but certainly never least, are my co-hosts. I actually need to get Fatal's name in this list now. But yes, to Dagger, TJ, Sasha, Aisha, and Fatal. Thank you guys so much for being part of this show. It's a challenge getting, a bunch of men with, family and or work obligations and or cat obligations, on schedule to on a weekly basis to get it done. But we're going to get it done, and we've been getting it done for more than a year now. So really appreciate you guys. The show just keeps getting better and better. Really appreciate you. All right, moving back over to the main scene. That about wraps this one up. It's going to be a super fun week 2. Now we're much more developed with our Datacron, so more science, more opportunity. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care. Cat, get off my mouse. That was the wrong button.